That terrible sound that you just heard was this. This is the dual dry clutch transmission out of a 2013 Dodge Dart. This was an abandoned car that I bought from a tow lot, came into my salvage business. I had no key, didn't know miles, had no history. But like everything that comes into Importapart, we test everything. So I bought a key for it. I programmed a key for it so I could hear the engine run and I could drive it through the gears, I don't know what's left of this transmission. It is bad. My dismantler said that the fluid was very bad, and I'm probably going to find things. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to tear this transmission down. There's not a lot of information on these things out there. Lots of stuff on the outside parts, not a whole lot on the inside. This should be a fun time. This is the C635. It is a 6-speed dual dry clutch transmission that you can get in the 1.4 liter multi-air turbo Dodge Dart. It's not the only vehicle that offered this transmission. Since this is a global product, you could get this transmission in several different vehicles that we just didn't get in North America. Some Alfa Romeos, some Fiats, even some Suzukis, which sounds incredibly bizarre to say. Now, nobody thinks that the Dodge Dart is some pinnacle of reliability. In fact, I would say it's probably closer towards the other end of that spectrum. But when these vehicles were newer and more valuable and people were fixing them for failures like this, I would get a ton of calls for these transmissions. And I've thrown a few darts through my system, and the transmission is the very first thing to sell. They have an incredibly high failure rate. And I really don't know why. I don't know if it's just a poorly designed product. I don't know if it's the people that own Dodge Darts are just abusing them or neglecting them. But either way, they're very expensive. Not a lot of people service them. And today we're going to tear this down to figure out what happened. The very first thing we're going to do is tear down the clutch and dual mass flywheel situation. I think this was apart already. I think my dismantler took this partially apart. But let's get this all the way apart to inspect. Those are Torx, and these are Hex. Ooh, it's making bad noises. Oh, that's pretty bad. What do you guys think of that disc? Is that bad? Wow, that is wrecked. I wonder if this transmission is actually fine. That side's pretty bad too. Now this did get washed. Oh no, there's a broken part of the collet here. This did get washed. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Did this fall apart? I feel like am I missing something? I think there's like a special tool that anytime you have the engine and transmission apart, you have to reset the dual mass flywheel, but this is the flywheel here, and that's not, where's the other mass? I don't really understand what has happened here, but it's pretty wrecked. All right, let's put some eyes on this. So that disc is literally broken. Now the rust is probably from when I washed this transmission. This thing was the dirtiest transmission that I've seen in a long time. It was just covered in caked oil and dirt. So I power washed it before I brought it home to save myself some effort, and I could have gotten some water on the clutch and flywheel. Not that I would ever sell a used one, but you can see the surface doesn't look too terrible aside from the rust. Now, I don't really know what's going on here. No, that looks like a pilot bearing that is jammed into the pressure plate. That looks like it maybe got caught in there. It does look like it got caught in there, doesn't it? Yeah, how does that happen? How does that happen with this? I'm not quite sure. This one doesn't look so bad, but then if you look here, those holes are all egg-shaped. They're all wallered out, if that's a technical term. Yay, if it's not, sorry. And this disc is literally coming apart. So is this a normal type of clutch failure? I thought they just wore out. You know, there's still material above the rivets here, but at the same time, there's like giant chunks, like clutch material monster came in, took a huge bite. So what went on here? Let's see if we can pry that out of here. I have my doubts. Oh, maybe. Whoa! That was pretty dangerous. I don't know why I did that. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I can't believe that almost hit me in the head. I mean, I guess I can believe it. I'd like to talk candidly for just a second here. One may assume by finding a destroyed clutch and flywheel that this is the sole problem here. The only problem that exists was the clutch and flywheel, which is destroyed, and that the transmission may be perfectly fine and there may be no problems with this. And they might be correct. My dad taught me at a very early age that there's no law that says there could only be one problem with a car. And if you combine that rationale with the industry standards of proving that a part is good before you sell it instead of proving it isn't, I can't sell this. There's no way I could sell this and feel good about it. I already don't sleep enough. So we are going to tear this transmission down because we don't know. I can't prove it's good. And it may be a complete waste. And some of you techs may see this and go, yeah, you could have put a clutch and flywheel in it and it would have been fine. I'm not going to reinstall this into a car to find out. It's not that valuable. It's not worth my time. Instead, we're going to tear this down, see if there are any other issues, because there could be, and it's going to be a good time. Let's go over some part identification. This is a slave cylinder. I know. This is a slave cylinder, and here is the throwout bearing. Here's your accumulator, and your pump, hydraulic pump for the clutch, is down here, and there's the reservoir at the very top. And this contraption is a giant solenoid pack. You want to call it a valve body. It is what it is. This is what actuates the entire shifting apparatus of this transmission. I don't know what it's going to look like behind here, but this is a part that sells on its own very well. The pump sells on its own very well. I don't know if I want to sell parts out of this. It'll all be determined by the way the rest of this looks once we get it apart. You got your rubber fill plug in the back. And the rest of this just looks like a standard transmission. There is a pan at the very bottom down here, which we will get to. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to start by draining this reservoir, removing the pump and accumulator, and then pulling this part off. Oh, it's a little... Nope, I need a pick. That comes out, right? I mean, it's going to come out. Ow, jerk. That did it. All right, let's go ahead and suck out the reservoir here. Oh, I think I'm reaching the end of the line here. All right, let's start with the reservoir. Oh, just threw a bunch of fluid everywhere. That came right out. Nice and easy. I can't get my line wrench in here because of the casing, so we're gonna hope we can do it with an open end. Yes. All right, that line is loose. And there's, ooh, that's damaged. Let me get this little brake clean back so we can see what we're looking at. Rebuilt. So here is the slave and throwout bearing. And it doesn't look terrible, but there's some damage. It looks like there's some damage on the side there. I don't know that it would impede, but this feels terrible. This is super gritty. It's definitely not a good, it pumps out fluid though. Ooh, that was fun. It's empty now. But very oily, very dirty, but more importantly, so looking at the input shaft, where the slave bolts on is fine, but if you look right here, see if we can zoom in on that, show you, that hole is missing all the threads. Well, I don't know if there are supposed to be, but this looks terrible to me. It looks like something exploded in here and destroyed all this. Here, let's get a better light on all this. There we are. Pull out a little. So this all looks terrible. There's a bunch of destroyed metal. You can see how that hole is deformed. I don't know what happened here, and I also don't know if I'm missing anything here. I didn't dismantle this car. But then if you look at the splines, there seems to be some pretty heavy damage to that shaft. The splines are heavily worn. This is not a good transmission, guys. Even if the inside looks perfect, it's still bad. Now we're gonna get the line loose for the other slave cylinder. Pop this off here. And we're leaking pretty good, which is perfect. Look at that unit. That's pretty wild. I did not expect that shaft is part of that. There's a hot spot right there, but I bet that's probably from when it was made. And the tip of this has some thread damage. Not terrible though. Get some more lines off here. We're leaking pretty good now, which is great. Get it all out. All right, getting places. I got 2 Torx buried in there to remove the bracket for the accumulator. I guess I could pull it out of the bracket. I don't really want to do that. All right, we're gonna pick this up and kind of, or we're just gonna do that. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, there we are. There's the bottom. There's our little bitty pan. I did not get the bottom of this cleaned because I didn't rotate it like this to power wash it. So it's a little on the dirty side. Not sure the best way to take this apart. So we're just gonna start zipping some bolts out. Eventually something's gonna fall off. Oh, that just comes all the way through. I really just wanted to pull this off of there. This is gonna break. But maybe I can snake this with the line through. Here, let's get old blue. There we are. And we can do one of these. Perfect, I think. All right, I'm just gonna start zipping some bolts out. Oh, it moved. Did that help me at all? All right, so this is loose in the bracket. These are loose. Why are these loose? They're not supposed to be loose. Was somebody else in here? That one's not loose. I mean, it's loose, but it's not loose. That doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna figure out a way to get those out of there. Yep, we're gonna try to figure that out. Well, I was making some progress. I'm sure this is what they want you to do in the book. This works for this one, but nope. They don't make ball socket Torx tools. So there's that. Not sure what to do next. Ah, yes, success. There's one. And we still have a much more difficult one left that is not loose at all. Oh, yes, it is. I can't imagine you have to get these out to change this part. All right, it's in a little more comfortable position. Where do you think you're going, transmission? I mean, it wants out. We also have a couple lines that I'm not sure how they come off. I don't want to break just trying to pry them off. We'll deal with that when it's impossible not to. I can almost grab it with my fingers, not quite. All right, pump is loose. I'm just gonna leave that kind of there. I'm gonna see if we can remove that with the whole valve block. It looks like someone's taking a bolt out of it. I'm gonna try to run a bolt in it to keep that together. Let's see if this works. Look at that. And now I don't have to worry about taking that line off because we can get the whole unit off. I think it's time for blue. I don't know if there's any place to pry that's gonna not break, but, or if there's anything else I need to take off. That's the other question. Did I get it all? No, I didn't. There's a big old bolt right here. Why didn't you guys tell me? Come on, you guys saw that. I bet it wants to come off a lot easier now. Look at that. So, it looks pretty clean in here. And this is how it shifts. I don't know if I can make it shift. Oh, there we go. I don't see anything destroyed yet. I don't know. There's probably a secret handshake that I need to do to shift this and detense. Oh, hey, I shifted it and it's locked up. Hey, I think I just put it in park. Well, wait a minute. I got a parking pole over here. But that only affects the output shaft, I think. Oh, this only has 2 positions. Yep, all right, so that's park. That's not. So I'm gonna shift it in and out of park so you can watch it actuate. There's park, not park. That's the only 2 gears it's got. It's got park and everything else. It's kind of like a 4L60. I kid. But overall, it looks pretty clean in here. I don't see anything destroyed. It's a very simple transmission. Don't see any missing teeth off of any gears. We haven't torn the whole thing down, but usually if something's coming apart, there'll be chunks of metal everywhere because they're really good at flinging parts. So we're still going to take it apart. And these are the hydraulically actuated, electronically controlled shift solenoids. Now, I don't know if these fail all at one time or if it's just one and you can service the individual components. I do know that this unit as a whole sells very well. I may sell the pump off of this thing. I may not. I haven't decided how I really want to do that. I don't really want to sell a question mark. So I might be able to test the pump with power. Otherwise, I don't see any major wear or any damage to any of these components, but I don't necessarily trust it. All right, let's pull this little pan. Oh, I didn't even have to pry it off. Oh, silvery sparkles, forbidden glitter. So I will say this, it is somewhat routine to find sparkles in a manual transmission. A whole lot of it came out over here. I'm not super alarmed. I don't see any large chunks. Okay. There's definitely some brass synchro material. So it's probably not ideal. But it's not super alarming if you do get inside of a manual transmission to find a bunch of metal contaminants or metal debris. More bolts. Did that do anything? That may not have done a single thing. All right, we've got some loose parts now. I don't see anything. I don't really know. All right, so I think we're going to need to pull it a little further apart before this apparatus, whatever this is called, comes out. Oh, this is the parking mechanism. That's the park right there. So I bet we need to pull the other side. The range switch as such, the selector switch. We'll go ahead and get that off next. All right, well, I don't know what now. So that's about as far as the other side came out. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting places. Now I wonder if this comes out all the way. Look at that. Perfect. I don't see any major wear here. That all looks pretty normal. So here's a look inside the trans. And if you look down there, there's some sparkly fluid. There's the parking gear. There is the parking powell and the whole actuator there. It's all mechanical. And now we may split the case. Get these case bolts out. Wow. Take the extension out. We have one pesky one. Try it one more time before we use hand tools. I just had to threaten it, that's all. I've got one big bolt here I think needs to come out. Now there are some other large E-Torx bolts in here, but what I think I have to do is flip this on its belt housing and lift this outer case off of it. So let's see how bad that is to do. I don't think it's going to be terrible, plus it'll give me a chance to look to see if I missed anything. Oh, it's leaking a bunch of fluid, but I got a drain table here, so it ain't not a thing. That was fun. All right, you think Blue's up to the task for this? All right, let's see what happens. Oh, it's making popping noises. If that was it, I just don't believe it yet. I think that's it. That was it. That just looks like a regular old manual transmission to me. So this looks just like a regular front wheel drive manual transmission. Here's all your shift selectors. There's your differential. It's a 3-shaft unit. This one is your input shaft. And that's pretty much it. I think this is your output shaft here. One of these two is your output shaft, or maybe I don't know what they actually called the correct terminology, but I bet that if we simply, how does this come off? There's our shift forks. They're just welded, they're not cast. Oops, hopefully that wasn't important. That was just the parking gear. I don't see any damage here. All the fingers are still in place. What do you guys think? Does this thing look all right to you? I think if this thing was actually blown up inside, we would easily see the debris spread throughout. Is this? Oh, we can just pull the selector shaft out. There's one fork. That one looks all right. That looks all right. Now, I don't know what it takes to get the shafts out, but we're going to try it because we're taking this whole thing apart. Looks like there's a magnet. Nope. Yeah, that's a magnet. Ooh, that's pretty normal. So, do I need to remove all these Torx here? I might need to, but... Oh, wait. I just need to pull on it. That's it. There's one shaft. There's one of our input shafts here. There's the one that's worn. This one will bloop right out of there. And I just have this piece so I can get the diff out. The aroma filling my garage is a unique one for this garage. I haven't had a transmission torn down in here yet that I can remember. There's your race plate. The diff just pulls right out. That's it, we're done. I mean, we're gonna look at everything, but the whole thing's torn down. That didn't take much time at all. Well, we have some things to look at. This is what we saw before we tore it down. Look at the wear on that input shaft. It is not supposed to look like that. It's actually worn that way as well. And then when you go to this input shaft, or this part of the input shaft, you can see there's like a little line cut, a little bit of wear into that gear right there. And I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be, but I would wager no. And there's a similar one on one of the output shafts here. And these are both output shafts. Both of these make contact. Both of those shafts make contact with the differential. So I think there's like an even shaft and an odd shaft. I think that's how that works, because I think the clutches are the same way. There's a clutch for the odd gears and a clutch for the even gears. It's a very complicated sounding transmission, but it looks very simple here on my bench. If you look around here, you can see there's your parking pawl gear. I don't really see any major damage in here. A little bit of wear on this. I think the majority of the damage was confined to the bell housing area, and that's the sound we heard, probably the clutch grinding itself to pieces. But that doesn't mean that this was good, because this would have been a return. 100% someone would have returned this transmission for this. And I am not wasting anybody's time. I'm not trying to support the shipping and logistics industry by shipping bad stuff across the country. So this is how it shifts, by the way. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. There we go. All the bearings seem to be in pretty good shape. I don't see anything discolored, like it got hot. A little bit of wear on the races. The differential looks good. I don't see a ton of wear on the spider gears. The 16-year-old Eric didn't own this car because I used to launch pins out of these things by doing one-tire fires. Now, there is quite a bit of dirt and debris in this thing. Again, it's not alarming to me. I've been inside a lot of manual transmissions, and it's rare that you find one that's 100% clean with no debris, but it is present. All right, let's look at a few more things that I didn't cover earlier. This disc, this is supposed to be splined, and this fits on the input shaft. Well, it's supposed to slide onto the splines, but not so much anymore. That's pretty incredible that it did that kind of damage. You can see there's a ton of heat in it. And then when you get to this piece, this is the piece that bolts inside here. You gain access through these holes here. But I don't know really why it wallowed those holes out. Like, what causes that? Did the bolts back out while it was in operation? Or was it installed incorrectly? Was this replaced? What do you think caused all this? But obviously, this thing came apart. And the sound we probably heard was this thing beating itself apart on this part of the input shaft. It's pretty wild. Cases all look good. This, if it wasn't for the shaft, if it wasn't for this would have been a clutch away from being back on the road. Now, no one's fixing a 174,000 mile Dodge Dart that needs a clutch. It's an expensive job. There's special tools required. So I'm not really shocked that someone abandoned this car. But at least we got to see what the inside of the transmission looks like. Back in March, when this car first came in, I made a short video programming the key, hearing the engine run, and the transmission scream for the very first time. I'm going to put that after the summary. I wanted to do this first. This Dart had 174,000 miles on it, which in my experience is at the end of its usual life. That does not mean that you can't get 250 or 300,000 miles out of one. And if you are one of those people that has, because you've taken great care of your vehicle, I'm really happy for you. I love to see people get the most out of their vehicles and their money. But in my experience, that is the exception and not the overwhelming rule. Most of these have failed in some way that's not worth repairing long before the miles that this Dart had, which leaves me with one major question. Did someone replace the clutch and flywheel in this car before? Is this the original clutch and flywheel? So I see this type of catastrophic failure happening with only one of three scenarios. Number one is that someone was in here, they did replace the clutch and flywheel, and they failed to do it properly. Like they didn't torque the 3 bolts that hold this to the bell housing correctly, or they didn't apply Loctite if they're supposed to be Loctite, and they backed out, allowing it to vibrate off or cause all of this catastrophic failure. Or the second option I see is that this car had all of the signs of a weak clutch. It had warning lights, it had trouble codes, it drove weird, and the driver or owner of this vehicle ignored everything, as so many people do, and drove it until it made this terrible explosion, which I'm sure it was loud, and then made terrible noises and parked it and left the car for good. We've seen it on the channel so many times where people ignore all of the codes, all the smells, the leaks, the sounds, all of those things, and they keep driving until the right pedal doesn't work anymore. Did that happen here? Or maybe this is just a risk of clutch failure on these cars. There's no reason that if the clutch is the overwhelming failure point of these transmissions, that you wouldn't just sell them a clutch and you'd have to sell them a whole transmission, unless when it fails, it takes out the transmission like this part of the input shaft. Now, I will tell you that if I could buy this, which I might be able to buy this, and if I wanted to, I don't know, put threaded inserts in the bell housing, I could put this all back together and sell it as a unit that I couldn't trust. But I'm not going to do that because I have better things to work on. But this was still fun. I wanted to take this apart to see what the insides look like. It helps me diagnose things with my customers. It helps me avoid buying cars with bad parts. And it helps me buy cars. This is why one of the very good benefits of doing this channel is that I get to learn about all the different failure modes of all the different cars out there. It helps me understand the market. But there's not a lot to sell out of this. That's my business, selling parts, and there's not a lot here. But if you want something out of it for your desk, it's kind of weird stuff for your desk, or if you want parts out of anything else I've torn down in the past, I'm going to leave our email in the video description. You can also go to Importapart.com to see the vehicles that we are currently parting out. I've been uploading new ones every single week. We've got lots of cool stuff in, some more Miatas, which nobody is surprised about. Got some Corvettes, even a 911 Turbo. I really hope you enjoyed this teardown as always. I love all the comments, all the feedback, and even the criticism. I love it all, and I'll catch you on the next one. Tow lot Dodge Dart. Jeez, I can't believe somebody would abandon one of these things. I have no idea how many miles are on it or if it runs, but we're going to program a key. Hopefully it's got a good engine and transmission. If I hadn't bought this, it would have ended up at one of the local scrap yards. Might have been a better call, not sure yet. Let's see what happens here. Let's see, we are, I mean, it's technically Fiat. Let's see, I'll just do it this way. I think it's not a proxy key, I think it's a Fobic. First we're going to read the PIN code. I gotta turn the hazards on. Where are they? $82.50. Alright, so now we're going to go program key. Key count 3. It's okay. Sorry if this is too glary, we'll see. Programming complete. What the heck? Oh my god, it's the highest mileage Dart on the planet. 174,000 miles. That's amazing. And the cluster that's worth money is cracked. Let's see if she'll start. There's no way it's gonna start. Sounds like it's got no compression because it needs to build up oil pressure. So it's gonna crank like it's got no compression. And you just gotta keep trying. Okay. Oh. It's got that weird system in it. Or it's got that multi-air actuator. Come on, baby. I got faith. It usually takes quite a while. I'd be surprised if it... That's a forklift starting, guys. All right. Oh yeah. We are running. Low fuel service transmission. Oh, it's angry. What is happening? That sounds good. Singing the song of the multi-air people. What is happening here? Let's see if it goes into gear. Oh, I'm gonna say the transmission's bad. Oh my god. Oh, that's the P lights flashing. I think it's bad. Ooh. This thing is such a piece of junk. The engine seems to run okay. It wants to drive. Gear not available. Give it to me. Shift into neutral, then drive. Neutral's not available. It's driving in neutral. I think this transmission is bad. Is that a bad transmission?